All right, there it goes. Let's see. Let's do this. This is more kind of a reteaching this little bit than just going over the problems. So in case you forgot, you have a situation like this. Let's put some numbers in here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so the first 4 questions on the quiz, you're going to have to identify what these angles are. So I'm going to give you 2 angles, right? So on the quiz, it'll look like the worksheet. So it'll look like 1 through 6, okay? Each problem, there's 4 problems. So on the quiz, it's numbers 1 through 4, okay, are going to be like this. But I'm going to go through them all, and they give you the words too, all right? I'll shorten them up a little bit. What are the words? Corresponding angles, right? And then alternate interior angles. My writing seems to be worse on this new tablet. I thought it would be better. I don't know. There's something I got to adjust. But anyway, sorry, bear with me with my bad writing. Alternate what? Exterior angles. And they give them to you. Somebody said, yeah, I don't know if it was this class or the other class, but they said, you're going to give me a word bank. All right, well, they kind of do give you a word bank. All right, what's the third or fourth one? Remember that? Consecutive. I'll just shorten it. Consecutive what? Interior angles. All right, so you got to know which ones are which. All right, so let's just talk about the corresponding angles. Let's list, and we did this when I first taught the lesson, okay? I'm just rehashing it just to make it fresh in your mind. Let's list all the corresponding angles. I got 1, 2, 3. 3 heads down. There's no reason to have your head down. We're taking a quiz on this tomorrow, and I almost promise you the ones with their heads down are the ones that are not going to know what's going on in the quiz tomorrow. All right, that's enough warning. I hate to say it, but because I don't really feel this way, but if you're going to put your head down, you're just going to put your head down, all right? But I hate that. I want everybody paying attention, all right? So let's do it. What? After school today, I got a meeting after school today, so I won't be able to do that today. It's on YouTube, okay? Watch the lesson. It's only one lesson, so if you watch section 3, okay, you'll see it on there. And this is just a rehash of section 3.1, all right? So I'm going over everything you need to know for this quiz tomorrow, all right? So this is exactly what I would do if you met with me one-on-one. But we have a meeting after school, unfortunately. We have a lot of meetings, so I would rather just teach than go to meetings. All right, here we go. Let's, but they're important. I do understand that. Let's talk about the corresponding angles. Let's list. You can write them down. I'm not going to write them down, okay? You write them down, okay? Let's list all the corresponding angles, starting with 1. What would be a corresponding angle with angle 1? Angle 5, because, and we talked about this when I first taught the lesson. Do you see this chunk, this group, right, of 4 angles up here? And you got this group of 4 angles down there. Everybody see that? Yeah. They're kind of the same, aren't they? Yeah. So look at angle 1. That's in the top left. Which one's in the top left down here? Angle 5. So that means 1 and 5 are what? They're corresponding. Well, we don't know they're equal just yet because we don't know that these 2 lines are parallel. We haven't talked about that yet. Okay, but we do know. We just worried about the names right now. I just want to know the names of them. So 1 and 5 are corresponding, right? Give me some other corresponding. 2 and 6, 3 and 7, 4 and 8. Very good. You see how they match up with each other? They're in the same spot. They do what to each other? They correspond to each other. Make sense? All right. Alternate interior angles. The interior means the ones between the 2 lines. So 3, 4, 5, and 6 are my interior angles. Which ones are the alternate interior angles? 3 and what? 6. 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. Can somebody get the door, please? So 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. Give me another pair. No. 2 and 7 are not interior. Okay, which ones are interior? Just 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, they're the ones between these 2 lines. You see all the stuff in here? Whoops, I went outside there. Sorry. Let's try this again. See all the stuff inside of here? Those are your interior. What about the stuff out here and the stuff out here? Where are they? They're exterior. Okay, so why can't I push that button? There you go. So 2 and 7 are on the outside, aren't they? Okay, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are on the inside. They're the interiors. So we already said 3 and 6 are alternate interior. What's your other alternate interiors? 4 and 5. Okay? Do you see how 3 is completely opposite of 6? See, 3 is up at the top left, and this is down the bottom right. They're completely opposite, which means the alternate. That's why that word alternate. Okay? And they're interior, which means they're what? They're between, they're inside those two lines right there. Make sense? All right. Alternate exterior. Now we can say 2 and what? 2 and 7. So 2 and 7 would be alternate exterior. Give me the other pair that's alternate exterior. 1 and 8. That's right. See, 1 and 8, they're completely opposite, and they're on the outside of those two lines. Same thing with 2 and 7. Does that clear it up a little bit? All right. And that's what 1 through 4 is going to be on the quiz. All right. But it's going to look like the worksheet. They're just going to have one set of these. They're not going to have all these angles numbered like this. Okay. All right. They're just going to give you a 3 and a 6. So they're going to say, I think they'll give you X and a Y is what they do. Right. They'll make this X. They'll make that Y. And they say, okay, identify them. What are they? What would you say? If this was an X and this was a Y, you would say alternate interior angles. Okay. And like I said earlier, you got 4 choices, you got 4 problems. Each one is going to have its own, I don't know what you call it, identification, right? So you're not going to have 2 corresponding, you're not going to have 2 alternate interiors. Everybody got that? One answer is going to be corresponding, one answer is going to be alternate interior, alternate exterior, consecutive interior, okay? So only one of each. Everybody good? All right. I'm trying to make this as easy as I possibly can for you, with you still knowing what I'm trying to ask. All right, that's 1 through 4. Now, 5 through 8 will kind of look like this. I do give you 2 lines, but not just any 2 lines. What do you think I'm going to change now? I'm going to put arrows on here, which means that now the lines are what? Parallel to each other. Before, we didn't have the arrows on there. We didn't know that they were parallel, but we didn't really care. All we were trying to do is find the names of them. But now I'm trying to find out, are they equal to each other, not equal to each other? Is there something else that's true about them? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So you have a big chunk on the quiz, 5 through 8. Numbers 5 through 8 are going to look like this. Okay, I give you 2 parallel lines, I give you a transversal, and I number all the angles. But then I'm going to ask you some questions about those angles. I'm just going to make some up. We can slide it in right there. So let's say angle 1. Let's say I told you angle 1, it's obtuse. Give me a nice, easy, obtuse angle. Don't give me like 137. Give me something kind of easy. What would that be? Nobody? You can't think of one? Let's go 120. Okay, good. 120. So if I told you angle 1 was 120, but I asked you to find angle, let's say 8. So you look at 1, you look at 8, and you find the relationship. What's true about angle 1? What's the relationship between angle 1 and angle 8? They're equal to each other, exactly right. Okay? We just talked about why they're equal. I don't ask on this problem why they're equal, but let me ask you now. Why is angle 1 equal to angle 2 or angle 8? They're alternate exterior. Good. Now, what do we know about alternate exterior angles? That they're equal to each other. That's right. I should have kept that list that I made here. But let's do it now. I'll rewrite it. Okay, I'll just do it really short. Corresponding angles. What's true about corresponding angles? They are what? They're equal to each other. And then I'll just go AI for alternate interior. Is that all right? So the alternate interior angles. What's true about the alternate interior angles? They're equal. And then A what? E. Alternate exterior angles. What's true about them? They're equal. Okay? It seems like everything's equal, but not everything is equal. What's the one that's not equal? Consecutive what? interior. The consecutive interior angles are not equal to each other. We have a good geometry word. What do we call it? Starts with an S. Supplementary. Okay, I'll write out the whole word. What does that mean, to be supplementary in geometry? It means they add up to 180 degrees, okay? So the consecutive interior angles add up to 180. We'll get to that in a second. But right now, I got 1 and 8. What's true about 1 and 8? They're alternate what? Exterior angles. And what's true about alternate exterior angles? They're equal to each other. That's right. So, what's angle 8 then? It's 120. That's right. Very easy. Agreed? No work to show. All right? Everybody worries about me showing work. You know that I make you show work all the time. I'll tell you what, math teachers get a bad rap sometimes. I look on the Facebook, right? And I see these memes on there all the time about, I don't know if you ever see them or not, but I got teacher friends, so they always share them. But there's memes all the time about teachers making kids show work. I don't know. You ever see them? Maybe you don't get them. Not even on Facebook anyway, are you? But they probably have them other places. But if I find some, maybe I'll copy and show them to you, just because they're always making fun of math teachers all the time because we make you show your work. Well, there's a good reason why we make you show your work. But in some situations, you can't show your work. There's no work to show. You just have to know that 1 and 8 are equal. So you just write it down. Everybody got it? All right. I'm not offended by much, but sometimes I'm a little offended. Not really, but it just, I don't know, makes me laugh too, I guess. All right, let's do another one. Question, Josh? It means the lines are parallel, right. If I did not have lines here, could I say that 1 and 8 are equal to each other? No. I should say if I didn't have arrows there, not lines. If I didn't have arrows here, if I didn't know that those lines were parallel, I could not say that 1 and 8 are equal. The only way that 1 and 8 are equal is if these two lines were what? Parallel. Everybody got it? And they will be on the quiz, so you don't have to worry about that. There's no trick questions or anything like that. All right, let's do another one. Let's do angle 4. Angle 4. That looks obtuse as well, doesn't it? So let's give it another number. Let's go 150. Okay, just to make it easy. So let's say angle 4 is 150, and I ask you to find angle 6. This is one where you have to do a little work. And when I say little, I mean a little, just a little bit. Look at 4 and 6. 4 and 6. Are they equal to each other? They are? Think about it. Look, 4, what kind of angle is angle 4? It's obtuse. What kind of angle is angle 6? It's acute. Is there any way an obtuse angle is going to equal an acute angle? No, there's no way. Just the definition of both of them, they can't be equal to each other. So 4 and 6 aren't equal. What's my other option? Adding them up and setting them equal to what? 180. So if angle 4 is 150 degrees, then what's angle 6? 30 degrees. That's right. And if you needed to show work, what would it be? 180 minus 150, and that gives you what? 30. So that's 30 degrees. Taj. You know your coach talks to me about you, right? And he asks me how you're doing in here. So if he talks to me today, what am I going to tell him? If I was truthful, what am I going to tell him? Come on, be honest with me. What would I tell him? You know what I would tell him. Makai, what would I tell him? Yeah, he slept the whole entire class when I told him to keep his head up. Okay? It's exactly what I would tell him. All right? Look, I appreciate you. You're a good kid. You don't cause me trouble or anything like that. And when you are awake, you actually answer questions and stuff like that. You're a great running back. I love watching you. Love watching you run down the field, beating everybody, leaving them in your dust. I love that. But you know what I would love even more? I would love if you had your head up and you took good notes and you were really trying. That's what I would love. All right, here we go. Angle 3 and angle 7. All right, so what if I told you angle 3? Now, angle 3 this time, this is an acute angle, isn't it? So give me, let's say 50 degrees. We'll just make it, again, easy numbers. Yeah. How do you tell the difference? Because it's less than 90 degrees. All right? So watch. Here's 90 degrees. Agreed? Yeah? So that's 90 right there. If I had an angle that's somewhere between 0 and 90, see that? See how that's less than 90? That angle right there is an acute angle. Okay? What about this angle right there? 90 would go here, right? This angle right here goes more than 90, right? So it's wider. So the wider angle is obtuse. The skinnier angles, right? Skinnier than what? Than 90, right? The skinnier angles are acute. So look at it. Look at angle 3. Is this skinnier or wider than 90 degrees? Skinnier. It's smaller than 90 degrees, right? So it's acute. Look at angle 5. Angle 5 is what? It's obtuse because it goes wider than 90, right? It goes from here straight up would be like right here. That would be 90, but it goes even further than 90. So that means it's obtuse. All right? What if I told you angle 3 was 50 and I asked you to find angle 7? What would that be? Without doing any work at all. Angle 3 and angle 7. They're both acute, right? They're both acute, so they got to be equal to each other. In this situation, I almost hate to say that. It doesn't mean that every single acute angle is equal to each other. It just means that when you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, every acute angle in that situation are going to equal each other, okay? Every obtuse angle in this situation are going to equal each other. Yeah? All right. And then let's do one more because that's how many we have on the quiz, so I'll figure I'll do that. So let's say angle 5. Angle 5 looks like what kind of an angle? We already talked about it. Obtuse angle. Give me a number we haven't used yet that's an obtuse angle. 100. All right. Nobody's playing along, so I'll just play my own game here. So angle 5 is 100 degrees, and I asked you to solve for angle 4. All right. So I told you that angle is 100 degrees, and I asked you to solve for angle 4. What's true about angle 5 and 4? They're alternate interior angles, okay? And they're both obtuse, right? If they're both obtuse, they got to be equal. So if that's 100, then that's 100. Easy as that. Right? All the obtuse angles are equal. Let's do this. Let's stay with this angle 5 is 100. Tell me all the other angles that are 100. If 5 is 100, then what? 8's 100. What else? 1's 100, and we already talked about 4. 4's 100. All right? It's that easy. What's angle 2 then? Yeah, it's acute. So if this is 100, this is what? 80. Give me the other angles that are 80 degrees. 3, 6, and 7. You got it? It's not that hard, is it? Is it sinking in? Good. All right, we got 2 more to do. So that takes us to 8. So now we got 9 and 10. Remember I said what 9 and 10 was going to be? This is one where you have to do a little bit of algebra. All right. So I'm going to give you, and it's I tell you what, let's just do the problems on the worksheet. Let's find a couple that we can do. Which ones did I say? Like 19 to 24. So 9 and 10 on the quiz. So this is numbers 9 and 10 on the quiz. All right. Everybody see that? This is the quiz, 9 and 10. It's going to look like 19 to 24 on the worksheet. So let's take a look at a couple of these. Let's do 20 on the worksheet. So let me draw. These are parallel lines. All right. They put a little arrow. Now their arrows, same thing with mine on the quiz, are going to look more like this. And they're going to be kind of shaded in. You see that? That's what the arrows look like on the worksheet, on the homework in the book, right? And also on my quizzes. and test, my parallel arrows look like that. But I don't write it like that when I'm drawing on this thing. Okay, enough of that. Let's do this. Let's say that this is 75 degrees. I'm taking this straight from the worksheet. This is number 20 from the worksheet. And this is 11x minus 2. Okay? And what you have to do is you have to solve for x. You don't even have to plug it back in. Remember when I was going over the answers and made a big deal about that? Solve for x. 11x minus 2. Yeah? So where do we start? Well, we look at these two angles. Look at this angle and look at this angle. What is the relationship? I say this all the time, but I want you to know what I mean. How do they relate to each other? Are they equal to each other? Are they supplementary? Or is something else true about them? There's really nothing else in this situation that could be true about them. They're either equal or they add up to 180. One or the other. Which ones? They're equal to each other. Look at the angle. What kind of angle is this? Well, yeah, it's true. They are corresponding angles. That's good. But no, it's not obtuse. Look, this is skinnier than 90 degrees. This is smaller than 90. That's acute. This is also acute. So what must be true if they're both acute? They're equal to each other, okay? And Mario, you said it right. They are corresponding angles. That's what I'm really looking for, okay? But if you can't remember those, just look to see if which ones are acute, which ones are obtuse, okay? And they're both acute, so they're equal. So I'd like to put the x on the left-hand side. Is that all right? So I'd go 11x minus 2, what? Equals 75. So that's the geometry. That's where the geometry stops. Now the math, the algebra begins. Okay, now I just have to do a little work and solve for x. What's my first step here? Add the 2, plus 2, right? So plus 2, plus 2. Okay, that cancels. Bring down 11x. Equals 75 plus 2, 77. Next step, divide by 11. X is 7. And that's all they want you to do. They just want you to solve for x. That's it. Same thing on the quiz. All right? There'll be different numbers, right? But it's the same thing. Same style of problem. Can you handle that? Yeah, you should be able to. Let's do another one, and then we'll be done. I don't know why I made that so big. That's okay. Let's find a good one. Huh. Uh, 180 minus 132 is 48. So let's make this 48. This is a little different from the one in the book, but let's make this one 48 degrees. And this one is x plus 139. X plus 139. Okay? So, and these are parallel lines. Put the arrows on there. It's very important to know that they're parallel. On the last problem, we said the two angles were equal to each other. Are they equal to each other on this problem? No, they're not, because what kind of angle do I have here? They are consecutive interior angles, but what type of angle is this one? It's obtuse. What kind of angle is this one? It's acute. So if it's obtuse and acute, they can't be equal to each other, so what's my only other choice? They add up to what? 180, exactly. But you're absolutely right. Delaney said it. They're consecutive interior angles, and what do we know about consecutive interior angles? They are supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So let's do that. Let's add them up. So don't set them equal to each other, because they are not equal to each other. What do you do to them? You take the first angle and you add it to the second angle, and what do they add up to be? 180 degrees. And now we do some math. All right? So I've got x plus, what's that? 139, 48. What's that? 187? Yeah, 17. That's 7. That's an 8. 187. Yeah? 187. So 139 plus 48 is 187. I just added like terms. That's equal to 180. Now what do I do to get x by itself? Subtract 187. All right, so x, this cancels out, equals 180 minus 187. That's kind of weird, but it's what? It's negative 7. And that's all they want you to do. They just want you to solve for x. All right, you don't have to plug it back in or anything like that, okay? You just have to solve for x. And those are the last two problems on the quiz, 9 and 10. I'll tell you right now, one of them, it's just like this, okay? One of them, the angles are equal to each other, and the other one, they add up to 180, all right? So I don't give you both of them equal to each other or both of them add up to 180, okay? One of them does one thing, one of them does the other thing, just so that you know. You might want to write that down in your notes if you're taking notes on this, just so you remember. So I try to give you variety. I rarely give you two problems that are basically identical to each other, all right? I need you to think about what's happening with every single problem. All right, what do you think? First quiz of the marking period. What are we getting on it? 100? Yeah. 20 out of 20? We should be able to. Yes, sir. Well, we talked about if it's obtuse or this is obtuse. This angle right there is obtuse, right? How do you know it? We just talked about it. It's more than 90 degrees. See how it's wider than this angle right here? See this angle right here? See, it's a lot skinnier from here than this is wider. Yeah? So the wider one is going to be obtuse. The skinnier one is going to be acute. All right? If it's less than 90 degrees, if it's between 0 and 90, it's acute. If it's between 90 and 180, bigger than 90, then it's obtuse. That's acute. That's right. So this one's acute, this one's obtuse, and that tells you that they do what? They add up to be 180. But if that confuses you, you can always look at these two and say they're consecutive interior angles. See how they're both inside the two parallel lines and they're both on the same side of the transversal? That means they're called consecutive interior angles. What do we say about consecutive interior angles? They are what? They're supplementary, which means they do what? They add up to 180. All right, so if that helps you, if you have a hard time seeing which ones are acute, which ones are obtuse, all right, then you don't really even have to know that. I just taught you that because I thought it might be a little easier, right, just to see that all the acutes are equal, all the obtuse angles are equal. Any other questions? Everybody good? All right. I expect good grades with this, all right? Put some time into it. This is going to be up online. Okay, the first time that I taught it, right, 3-1, go back and look. It might be the video right before this one. Probably is, all right? So that's going to be online as well, right? You've got the worksheet. I'll let you hang on to the worksheet till tomorrow. Why am I doing that? Use it to study from, because a lot of the problems are very, very close to the worksheet, all right? Yes, sir.